So I want to take a moment to respond to Fred's video here. He has one on actor dog where he's suggesting that he watched various signs of his dog and wanted to ask whether or not that was language, and then made reference to the video that I had shot on Gregory Bateson's work, and I have about 3 videos there on Bateson's work. First off, I want to get very clear here on what is meant by the word denotation. Denotation for Bateson, denotation refers to utterances bearing propositional content for which we can ask, is that true or is that false? See, a denotative utterance is a statement about something. It's about something. It's not simply an act. It's not simply an act that we can see very clearly what it means, and it means something specific without any connotative meaning. I think this separation between connotation and denotation is perhaps not as relevant as was being made. The issue is there a kind of requisite framing capacity that had to evolutionarily be there in order for denotation to emerge as a possibility? That is what Bateson is arguing. Bateson is saying that when he went to the zoo, he saw one monkey nipping at another monkey, and he said, wow, the nip means the bite, but it doesn't mean what a bite would mean. And from there, he made a realization that there is some sort of meta-communicative framing capacity that the animal must have. Now, I want to get this even clearer here, just for future reference. Notice, if the monkey were actually biting the other monkey, you can't be biting someone else and saying simultaneously, I am biting you. The statement, I am biting you, is a denotative utterance. An actual bite is not denotative. A bite just is what it is. A bite says nothing. A bite is something. A bite is an action state. It's a relational state. It's not an abstract consideration about the relation state, and a consideration which could be either true or false. A bite is never true or false. A bite is what it is. The human capacity to use denotative utterance is partly what we mean by language. There seems to be little to no evidence of animals using denotative utterance. They have very sophisticated, very complex sign systems, and their sign systems allow for an anticipation, a negotiation of relation states. Lots of complex behavioral metonymy occurs that I think we traditionally, in psychology anyway, have called sort of classical conditioning learning paradigms, of the pairing of an unconditioned stimulus with a conditioned stimulus. You do all this sort of conditioning of stimulus. But you don't have to talk about it that way. You can just talk about it as a metonymy. That is, there are substitutions that work, and, sometimes the part comes to substitute for the whole, and that's largely how animal sign systems work. I mean, if your cat jumps up on the table, you grab the squirter bottle and you say, get down, and then you squirt the cat, and pretty soon all you have to do is reach for the squirter bottle and the cat's leaping off the table. It learns to not see the, quotes, squirter bottle as a sign of a get down. It's not like it's pairing them. Instead, it learns to take the beginning of the sequence for the whole sequence. So animal sign systems can be exceptionally complex. They can be very rich. They're adaptive and they're learning, but they're not a language. Language it includes, right? Now, includes all of those signing capacities. Language is certainly built on a bed of that, and it overflows rich analogic depths and qualities. But if you really want to get at what's characteristically unique about language, it's things like denotative proposition, it has the self-reflexivity built into it, and it also has the capacity to say what's not the case. And if you think about it, all three of those are aspects of the same thing. That is, in order to give a denotative proposition, you'd have to be able to talk about the talk. You'd have to have not only meta-communicative resources like you'd find in those framing capacities of higher primates, but you'd have to have meta-linguistic capacities. You'd have to have words like words, word like truth, word like utterance. And you'd also, as you can see, you have to have the reflexivity to be able to reflectively consider the relation state in comparison to the propositional content and then adjudicate whether or not that is factually true or false. I mean, I can hold this up and I can say, this is a well-cooked eggplant. Now, that is a denotative proposition, but a false one. Now, if I say this is a paperclip, we say that that is true. Both of those are denotative propositions. I think when we're not just dealing with relation states, we're negotiating a talk about them, and that talk about them is somehow at a different level or layer of abstraction than concrete relation states are themselves. So I hope that contributes to your discussion. Okay, thanks.